Now, Gnaka, most people, when they think about the United Nations, what comes to the fore mostly is conflicts around the continent. And of course, we know that the UN has thousands of peacekeepers in African countries. But then some feel that the United Nations has not been effective in actually preventing conflicts or resolving those conflicts, and therefore you have all these thousands of soldiers on African soil who don't seem to be serving a purpose because those conflicts just continue. The DRC, whether you talk about South Sudan, what do you say?
Yeah, beautiful question, and that was the point I wanted to raise in this conversation. Yes, I agree with what the other speakers spoke about. But, we have to know the context in which the United Nations was created. It was in the aftermath of World War II. And its greatest purpose is to preserve peace and then promote peace and then prevent war. And then, of course, there are different other elements on the social level, economic level. They build several agencies. Many of them are operational. But when it comes to the issue of the sovereignty of Africa, we have to have in mind that the United Nations Security Council is composed of 5 permanent members. And then since World War II, they do not want to change the status quo. They still want to be the only one to decide about what is going on in the globe. And then also, it happened in the history of Africa, of the world, that the United Nations have failed Africa several times. We can talk about the assassination of Patrice Lumumba. We can talk about even the Ivorian crisis recently. And then so because of all those elements, we think that the United Nations is driven by the realist theory, according to which Mike is right. Everything possible, to advance, the selfish and then the national security interest, and to the detriment of Africa.